stand by until the fucking day that I die is that the only reason why people push for certain things isn't because they have some principled obligation of what they think the government should look like. It's because it helps their side more. You want some real ass fucking shit? And I'll say this a million times over. And I know it's true, and I can never prove it to you, but I know 1,000,000,000% it is absolutely true. If the majority of the people immigrating to this country from the South were white neo-Nazi/conservatives, you better fucking believe that the Democratic Party, or progressives especially, would be hardcore anti-immigration. 1,000,000,000%. Guarantee it. You better believe that if they drew up some ultimately fair redistricting plan, if a computer, if an AI, if a benevolent God from above came down and showed us that if you redraw districts in the most fair way possible, it would actually favor conservative lawmakers across several states, you better believe that Democrats would be against it, that progressives would be against it. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying that these two things are the same. I think having a coup is a lot more fucked up and inarguably worse than trying to either get rid of the Senate or rebalance the Electoral College order. I'm just saying that at the end of the day, I think motherfuckers only push for what they think will give them more political power. That's it. That's all I'm saying, okay?
Right? Them blaming Buffalo on the Great Replacement theory and racist conservatives. You.
Officials believe the gunman accused of the mass shooting in Buffalo was inspired by the white replacement conspiracy theory. Now, this is a baseless belief that white people are being slowly but intentionally replaced by minorities and immigrants.
The concept was once a fringe theory, but now it's embraced by many Republican lawmakers and Fox.
See, look, they said it was once fringe, guys. That means that when Lauren Southern was pushing it, it was not mainstream, okay? So you can't hold her accountable for anything.
Hosts.
For example,
So
Fox News host Tucker Carlson. People count up this kind of stuff. So whether you watch him or not, the fact is that the people who do and who track this note that he has made a reference or variation to this type of hateful conspiracy theory, this replacement thing, over 400 times since 2016.
We also have, prominent talking heads, Tucker Carlson, Fox News, making hundreds of references, a study has shown, hundreds of references to this kind of great replacement theory.
Did you peer review that
notions
paper?
of white genocide.
So when people like Tucker Carlson present a ready for cable version of the theory, it makes more extreme versions of it more accessible to audiences who would have never encountered it or would have never really thought about it.
Hate that through the media.
Why did guys, I'm trying so hard. I'm trying so hard not to become a conservative. I swear to God. I don't have to try. I don't think I'm moving. I think the world is moving. Why the fuck did Obama? Maybe this is a fake tweet. Somebody can tell me if maybe this is a fake tweet. Why the fuck did Obama tweet out, guys, that school shooting was real bad, but remember George Floyd? Why would he tweet that? There's no way. Why would he do that? I have to go look for his Twitter. It's got to be, maybe it was fake. It's got to be fake, right? It was the anniversary yesterday? Yeah, but like, don't you think tying those two things together is like a little bit fucking weird? Like maybe no. As we grieve the children of Uvalde, I don't know how to pronounce this today, Uvalde, we should take time to recognize that 2 years have passed since the murder of George Floyd under the knee of a police officer. His killing stays with us all. Like, isn't this like a little bit like in bad? Like, I understand 2 years, he's got to say something. Maybe it's a lose-lose for him, but like, holy fuck. I think that at the very least, I think he should have done two separate tweets. Jesus Christ. Or he should get that omniliberal interpreter guy underneath, like I have. Bro, it's not even that lefties are moving more left or righties are moving right. It's that populism is fucking rotted everybody's fucking brain.
Politics, the internet, has radicalized, angry, alienated, lost, and isolated individuals into falsely believing that they will be replaced. That's the word, replaced.
Okay, so let me be clear about something. They're trying to use the term the Great Replacement theory. And the reason for that is that's basically an anti-Semitic sort of fringe theory that comes from people who believe that there's this cabal of Jews who are trying to replace white people. Okay. So, of course, I don't believe that. And this is very important for me. I would like to see a comment below because I would like people to see the biggest, right-leaning YouTube channel that's ever existed. If you agree with the sentiment I'm about to express. I don't think that George Soros is sitting there,
What do the comments? I wonder if they're... Okay. Maybe. Okay, all right. Not bad. Okay. See? Not anti-Semitic. That's okay.
killing white babies. Okay. But what is happening is...
You agree with Elon Musk tweet implying that conservatives haven't also moved farther right just as much as progressives? It's the problem is that like talking about just right and left, there's like multiple different like axes that we can measure our political beliefs on. So it's kind of weird to talk about things from just like a right or left perspective. So like maybe historically people might view, so like here's one axis, right? How hawkish are you? How hard are you to do like aggressive foreign policy? You know, I think in the era of Bush and Obama and Clinton, I think people would view, roughly speaking, as conservatives as being generally the hawkish party. That conservatives are the ones that want to go to war. George Bush got us into Iraq. Obama said he'd get us out of Iraq and Afghanistan. He didn't. But generally speaking, that was a trend. But nowadays, well, with Trump, like Hillary Clinton, they were seen as more hawkish. And now Trump wanted to be like the isolationist guy. So what does it mean to be left or right when it comes to foreign policy? Because there are a lot of kind of like newer aged like conservative people, like the Charlie Kirk types and everything, that are like, we need to be hardcore isolationists. We need to do no foreign intervention whatsoever. That's all morally wrong. Hillary Clinton is the one that wants the no-fly zone over Syria. Hillary Clinton is the one that went into Libya and literally herself killed Gaddafi. Like Hillary Clinton is evil. So like it's hard to... that's why I'm saying it's hard to just say left versus right. Now, if we look at like establishment versus populists are hardcore isolationists. The Bernie bros don't want us involved in any foreign affairs at all. The Trump fanatics don't want us involved in any foreign affairs at all. So it's hard to like, yeah, it's just hard to measure left versus right. It doesn't really make sense, you know? What is David Shore's take? Meme aside, I think the basic state of things is that Democrats have moved left on econ and social issues. This is probably true, definitely on social issues. Republicans have held steady on social issues but moved left on economic issues, where Republican support for democratic norms have considerably eroded. Yeah, I guess it just kind of depends on how do we graph like your support of democratic institutions? Because Republicans don't care about any of those anymore. Republicans don't give a fuck about any of our institutions. They don't trust any of the intelligence. They don't trust any of the government. Like, everything is fucked. Democrats have higher trust for it. It's still eroded, but LOL moved left on economic issues. It feels like Republicans have moved a bit left on economic issues. If you're measuring economic issues as like a party's tendency to like suck off large corporations, it feels like post-Tea Party, post-Trump, Republicans are a bit more critical of like big business. That they'll want to do things that might harm big business, like curbing immigration and stuff, to protect like native wages and things, which is arguably a kind of a movement to the left on social or on econ policy. Maybe, but I guess it depends. It's so, I guess it just depends on how you measure it. Yeah, I'm not sure. Weren't Republican voters pretty in favor of the stimulus too? I believe they were, although eventually they wanted to roll back expanded unemployment insurance quicker than Democrats did, but it was still for quite a while, but yeah, I don't know. How is protectionism left-wing? Did I say that protectionism was left-wing? I think protectionism is populist, generally. Like far left people like Bernie were in favor of protectionist, isolationist policies. Far right people like Trump are in favor of like protectionist or isolationist policies. That's a populist idea. You heavily implied it. Okay, well, now I just told you what I meant if you couldn't figure it out. What is populism? Imagine that in one group, you've got a bunch of people that like study political theory, economic theory, and they try to make decisions about like what they think would be the best for a country or whatever. And then in the other group, you've got a bunch of people that have like their favorite YouTubers. The people in the latter group are populists.